Why did you even say yes to coming on, like to having a discussion on here with me?
Dude, no one else has ever asked me before. We have enough high quality chats that we definitely should be charging for free on the phone every second day. And I went, we got to start charging for this. So thank you all for subscribing. And thank you for funding this podcast. Thanks for having me. We're started?
Well, we can just start chatting and then we can decide where we go, but like we'd include all of this maybe. I mean, it would be fine.
I said action, so we're on.
What, how long have we known each other? A couple of years. We're related too, through marriage.
Yeah, we sure are, which is a treat.
Our wives are sisters.
If we weren't related, I think we'd still be really good mates just for, I remember meeting you was interesting because I had overheard people went, oh, you'd love Michaela's husband. He does photography as well. And I was like, that's not really what I do, but whatever, that's fine. And then met you and then actually realized what you're doing. And I went, oh, that sounds really similar to me. And I think we were destined to be really good mates right from the start.
It was like, yeah, you're just doing the same thing because you live in Brisbane. You're just doing what I'm doing in Brisbane, in Rocky. I was like, yeah. Well,
you were doing what I was trying to be doing. So, because I came in, when I first met you, I was trying to I wanted to start my own business. And I'd just given notice at the job I was working at, the agency I was working at. I just given notice, and then I'd met this girl and I was really excited, and I met her family, and then I met you, and then I was like, you were like, yeah, I run a content agency. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, so it was really early days. You were a big inspiration, big mentor for just like, dude, I just got asked for a capability statement. What does that mean? And you were like, oh yeah, I did that for a mining company 5 years ago. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, it was good. It was probably.
And now you're in the process of acquiring my
my
agency.
That's not public information yet, but you'll be getting paperwork served to you very shortly, actually.
It's been a fun journey because we were literally on the way here talking about how our wives are so supportive, right? Like they're great, but they don't really care.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about that. I'm not wishing that, because Hannah knows that if I've got something that I want to tell her, I'll just bring it up and tell her. And so she asks and she cares, but she's not, if anything, she's grateful. Because there was a time when I was like, babe, listen, I just listened to this thing, or I just finished this book about this type of business model. And I was thinking, if we could productize a service and you can mass produce it and get efficient enough, there's enough margins. And she's like, can you find anyone else to talk to this about? I love you, but I don't love this topic. And I was like, I'm calling Levi. I could pick up the phone and talk to you. It's good that I sort of like that she just trusts me to work and do my work and be able to, I don't know. I like it. I'm not super supportive, but also not super involved because that's my thing. And that's all it needs to be, I guess.
Yeah. And they have things that they are trying to accomplish in life, and they're not working in the business day in, day out. So the particulars, it's just been a very interesting journey that we've had so many hours of conversation on, of like, where do we, draw that line of like, how was your day? It was fine.
Really good. Any exciting projects coming in? Yes. And this client that you might know the name of is doing something that I'm really excited for. Oh, that's great. Love that. Awesome.
Move on.
And it's actually better that way. Like that was something I had to learn to get to that sort of point of like, no one cares about my business as much as me, not even my own wife. And it's like, this is the reason we are eating dinner tonight, by the way. But she's like, I can't expect her to care as much as I do, which is actually okay. It's a good thing.
I kind of like it because you end up having a life outside of your work. And obviously when you run your own business, it's really easy for that to become your whole world and for it to just consume you. And it's just, and you know, the work doesn't really stop. You're laying in bed going to sleep at night thinking about work, but it's really nice and refreshing for me. I went full time in my business the same month my first child was born.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's
right.
So like, it's been extra, like coming home. It's not about me. I heard Duncan Armstrong, I'm going to get his name wrong, speak at a conference a couple of years ago, and he talked about how the biggest thing for him was coming home from he's a gold medalist Olympian.
Oh, okay.
And in I can't remember what he swam, but your wife would know.
Probably.
She's a fan.
Probably.
And he was saying how he would get home from this big day of like public speaking and like flying home from, like a cab ride home from the airport and all this stuff. And he had to he was on the way home and he would basically look at photos of his kids and pull up their schedule and like, oh, okay, yeah, my daughter had dancing today. And so when he walked in the door, he was entering their day.
Yeah, totally.
He was exiting his day. That to me was like the biggest sort of paradigm shift in thinking about like I'm leaving my work day.
Yeah.
And I'm entering my wife's day, their day. They've had and your wife's calling you like it's been wild today when you're coming home and all this sort of stuff. And it's, and that causes tension in its own ways and we have to work that out. But just being able to leave all of that behind and enter, how was your day? It was fine. But just be there 100% for everything, for their needs.
And it was fine. It was fine. Like it was great. In a good, it was fine. And that's all it needs to be is fine. Because not even your own employees will care about your business as much as you do. And that was a thing for me as well. It's like, and I couldn't expect them to, but because you can only base it off your own experience and your own perceptions. When I was working for somebody, I was so invested in the business. I was invested in how it operated, what clients were valuable, why they were so valuable. I wanted to see behind the curtain. I was curious about profit margins, about so why did we finish the work today, but we're not going to send it for another 3 days? Well, because it's the way we did this. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And then I expect employees to care that much. And it's like, no, that's because I cared about business. And that's why I started my own business. It's like, you almost don't want employees that care that much. Not necessarily I mean that you want your employees to care about the work that they're delivering, and then it's just work. And I'll worry about the business side of it. And that's the point, because if everyone was me, there would be no employees. Like no one would want to work for me, because it's like, it's almost a good thing.
Yeah.
That it can just be work.
I feel like I've seen that in people who either that I know work in other businesses or who have worked for me, and that's, I hadn't really thought about it that way, but invested a lot into those people, which is what you do. But then the people who end up leaving and doing their own thing are the ones who in hindsight cared more about the things that business owners care about. Yeah. And so they're either a great partner or they're going to eventually be a great person who's, if you don't foster them.
Or a great competitor.
Or a great competitor. Yeah, which is, the case, I guess, in some ways. But it's a really interesting journey. What have you found the most difficult thing about trying to start and grow a business? Huge question. Sorry.
I think no. I want to give it an actual answer. I think the most difficult thing, because my logic brain loves to understand the path and then make the right steps on the path and making the right decisions to do the right thing to get the outcome that I'm trying to go for. With business, there's a tricky level of, I suppose, luck, where you can be doing the right activities all day, every day, and get zero result. And then 9 months later, see the fruit of the seeds that you planted way back. And it doesn't mean that you weren't doing the right things, because in the moment you go, oh, this is obviously the wrong thing because I'm seeing no fruit from this. But then a year down the line or whatever, it all comes to fruition and they go, hey, remember that quote you sent through? Can we get an update of that? Yeah, no worries. Our prices have gone up. And they go, yeah, of course, that's fine. You go, oh my goodness. 9 months ago, that was the biggest stress in my entire life. And I'm going, I'm obviously an idiot. This obviously isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Pushing through that is probably what's the most difficult part of starting a business, is going, am I even doing the right? Because at the start, you have no history to back yourself up. You have no self confidence, I suppose, because you're like, I think I'm smart. I think there's a market for this. I think this is what it's worth and what I should be charging. When you don't have a long history, when you're starting. So you don't know what you don't know, And so there's nothing really to fall back on rather than just a whole heap of self-confidence. And it's like, Yep, absolutely.
Try and fail.
Right? like
Yeah.
it's sort of like that. It's like
Yeah.
just backing yourself when there's nothing else to really back you, other than your own belief in your own product or in your own ability to deliver that product. When you get 3 years down the line, it's you sort of go, I think there's a level of confidence that comes from, I'm talking, pushback from a client or going, oh, really? That's what, and you go, yeah, absolutely. Because I've done it 48 other times and they all had no problem with this. You're the outlier. And so there's a level of confidence that comes with that. And you go, oh, that's fine. You obviously are not interested in this and you're happy to move away. Day one of running your own business, you go, oh gosh, maybe I'm the idiot. Like maybe I am being unreasonable. Maybe that isn't what that's worth. That's the tricky stuff. And that's something so you can be doing the right activities and then, oh gosh, yeah. And just working it out, like literally just working it out. The start is hard because it's the start. Like
we've had so many conversations about this and I feel like it's overcoming the fear of failure. Because I'm trying to like read into what you're saying. It's a little bit of like overcoming the fear of failure with, right, like that's confidence is sort of the other side of that coin.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
It's backing yourself and your product and what you do, and then experience kind of builds that. But I think the epiphany that I've, again, I think you talked about this as well, and it's the cliche of we can sit here and talk about how if you work hard, you can achieve your dreams, and if you never give up, then you'll achieve. But it's like you need to be realistic. Like there's some standard things that need to be contextualized for your dream. Is it realistic and things like that? Because if you're saying I want to be an NBA player and you're already 43 and live in Australia,
just work harder.
It's probably not like it's probably an unrealistic because there are so many more people who don't make that thing. And so it's sort of this really hard. At the same time, where I am, and I know we've talked about this, is I feel like it's only if I give up that is when I would fail.
Yeah.
So
I think you said that to me once. I just had a rough bunch of consecutive days or whatever it was, or weeks, or anyway, and just like far out, man. Like it just sucks. Like again, I'm pretty sure I'm doing the right things.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing nothing out of it. And again, it's purely, and that's the luck element, which is so infuriating because it's like you can be doing all the right things, saying the right words, learning, reading the right books, listening to the right podcasts, getting all the right knowledge. I understand it. I got it. Oh, it didn't work. And someone who's, and you see other people winning, you go, that's what I was doing. And that's, that can be so frustrating. But then I remember you saying, you're like, what are you actually afraid of? And I was like, I suppose, like who are you afraid of letting down? You said, let's pretend that all your clients leave tomorrow. What are you actually worried? Because like you could get a job at Woolies if you had to, and you'd be fine. You'd still be fed. It's okay. And I was like, I think I'd be afraid of the perception of the people whose opinion I care about. And you're like, who is that? And I was like, probably listing like 2 names, maybe, or 3, 2 or 3 people that I'm like, I would feel really ashamed because I wouldn't want those people to see that I tried. I genuinely tried and couldn't do it. And you were like, yeah, but what does failing actually mean? Because like you said, if this didn't work, you wouldn't end up at Woolies. You would go work for an agency as a creative director, and you'd go do whatever because you've got experience doing this, and you'd become a BD manager for some marketing agency in the city. And I was like, and so that's not failing. It would just be a shift. And also, who the heck cares about those 2 names, those 2 people that you care about? Anyway, I remember that was really helpful for me because I just went, oh yeah, like there is no outcome where I fail, because it's like, end of the day, I would just pivot and shift and try to go a different direction. And when you break it down, who you actually afraid of is like, oh, well, they probably don't even ever think about me ever. They probably don't even know what I'm up to. Like, which is so wild to think that that's what can keep you up at night.
And it's not trying is failing first anyway. Yeah. So trying and failing is, anyway, it could get really deep with that, but that's just like, as for young people in business, that's the thing, is just like keep going, especially if you're confident in this is going to work, this is going to work, and you'll get a breakthrough. Now, it can
be naive confidence as well.
Definitely.
If I was saying, I'm just going to keep selling yellow pages, no one wants that. I'm going to keep selling newspapers. It's like, that's not an industry that's growing.
That's why I said it needs to be realistic.
It has to be. And Because then it's a balance as well. People say like, yeah, you set your smart goals, set your realistic goals that you can definitely hit. And you're like, well, I don't want to definitely hit my goals. I want to pick something that's going to stretch me to my edge that I might not actually hit, but at least I've really been pushing myself to my limits. You know what I mean? Like that's the fulfilling stuff. That's the rock I push up the hill every day. Like I hope this doesn't crush me, but you give it a go.
Let's break this down a bit more because I'm just kind of thinking about it as we're going. I think we probably set bad goals, right? That's probably the first step is we tend to think way too big. And so the first thing you think is like, I want to be in the NBA. And you're like, well, that's not really realistic. But then at the same time, what I was going to say to you was Grant Cardone, for example, he's the 10X guy, right? So you take whatever your goal is and then 10X it. But your goal should probably be realistic. So take your realistic goal, 10X it, and then you'll probably end up somewhere between your realistic goal and the 10X point.
In the NBA. I want 10 NBAs.
But why is not getting to the NBA failure? Because we should actually be more focused on today and tomorrow and becoming better versions of ourselves and this journey rather than this outcome.
Yeah. That's my thing recently. I think his name's Syphilis, the Greek.
That's a disease. Syphilis.
Yeah, it sounds like a disease.
Syphilis.
Or maybe I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure. Anyway, the guy who was cursed by Hades. It's some Greek mythology. The guy who was cursed by Hades to push the rock up the hill. And then the point is that he gets to the top of the hill and it rolls back down again. And the next day he pushes it back up the hill and then it rolls back down. For eternity, he's rolling this rock up the hill. And that's the metaphor for the struggle of life. But you and me, unlike old mate in the story, we get to choose our rock. Like we get to choose what we push up the hill. And for me, that's my business. That's my marriage. That's the relationships with the people around me, my family. That's my relationship with God. It's not a place that I arrive at. It's not a destination that I go, so good. Now I'm here. I now have a good marriage. It's like, I will work on my marriage every day. And that is the rock I'm going to push up the hill. And sometimes it's bloody hard. And sometimes it feels a little bit easier. Sometimes business is really, really hard. And sometimes it's like, hell yeah, this is the best. But if I wasn't pushing my rock up the hill, it's like, boy, why would I get out of bed in the morning? So I get excited about the fact that it's got to be a little bit hard sometimes because that's why it's worth doing, and that's the point. And the thinking of it as an infinite game. It's not like, I'm going to build this business so that I can have a lot of money. You're like, to what extent? I just want to be able to have money to provide for my family. Okay, to what extent? Like provide how much? And then be able to be generous. Generous to what extent? Like, I don't know. To do what? Like it's the point is that we don't arrive there. It's like, I almost like that. I'm encouraged by the lack of destination. It is the journey, and it is, like you said, just better every day.
We just think so big and so dramatic and so ultimate when I think the refining process of, again, I just hate these cliches, but just these, like becoming a better version of yourself every day. It's just so important because it's about, for me, reverse engineering the process, looking at a goal. So, for example, you want to get in the NBA, right? What does it take to get there? Okay, well, other people are doing this, and this. They're practicing this many hours a day, and they're in a college in America, and they're, a certain height and or weight and or muscle mass, and, there's all these. And so, okay, you've got to achieve those. So what have you got to do to achieve those things? We've got to spend 3 hours in the gym and then spend 6 hours a day playing basketball. And so when you look at all of that, a lot of times people will have a dream that when you actually break down what it takes to get there,
let's go to the gym.
Well, they're not even willing to do that.
Yeah.
So then they spend their whole life dreaming about something. They're not even willing to do what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
What a waste.
Yeah.
It's like a good friend of mine. He's he likes, he's really focused on money and budgeting and these things, and he changed some language around what he was doing. When he started making some money and saving and investing and doing things, and he said, you hear people talk about, and you might have heard it from someone else, I don't know, but he can take the credit, at least in my mind. people say, oh, that's the dream. They see a car, they see a Porsche, they see a Ferrari. Oh, that's the dream. And he's like, no, it's in the plan.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
So you want to buy a Ferrari. How are you going to make the $300,000? How are you going to do it? You're going to do this, do that? Or you can spend your whole life dreaming about owning a Ferrari when you weren't even willing to do what it would take to get there.
A shift in language is also a shift in perspective on arriving. That's like, we'll be there one day, but it's in the plan. I like that. That's good.
It's in the plan. So why would we waste time? Like life is so, why would we waste time dreaming about things that we're not even willing to make the sacrifice that it takes to get there?
It gets me a little bit riled up, but I met a guy. I met this guy, and we were talking about life and, what do you do with yourself? Yeah, cool. I do. I have a business. I run a content and marketing agency in Brisbane. Oh, awesome. Like, that's so cool. He's like, gosh, I wish I would like, because he asked me like, how's business? And I was like, oh, dude, like just working it out. Every day is a day, and it's good though. We love it. I'm really excited. There's a lot of cool things happening, and wow, that's like, how do you get leads? How do you get clients from them? I'm like, oh mate, just go after it. It's all problem solving. It's a big puzzle for me, and I'm excited to fit the pieces together. And a piece might be a product that we're delivering, or a piece might be an employee that can deliver the product for people. It's like how do we make this work? Because there's no rules. There's tax laws, but other than that, there's no rules. Anyway, he said this thing, and it just triggered me, because he went, "Gosh, I wish I was like that. I wish I was like you." And I was like, "In what way? Like, what do you mean?" He's like, "I wish I was motivated. I'm just not that guy. I'm not a motivated type of guy." And I was like, "Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so." Like, he's like, "Yeah, I tried the whole gym." Tried going to the gym. I tried getting in shape. I tried learning how to budget. I tried I'd love to have my own business. I'd love to be fit, but I am not that kind of guy. And I was like, I'm not that kind of guy. If I had the lifestyle that you have, I wouldn't be that guy either. Every day, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be, motivation isn't a characteristic. It's a discipline. It's not a skill set that you're born with. It's a skill set that's developed. And I was like, I don't want to do half the things that I do, but and a big part of this is dopamine. We talk about this a bit, but it's like, if I was playing video games 2 hours a day, there's no way I'd be motivated to go into work and call clients or win some work, or focus on my marketing, or like work out efficiencies in how we're delivering our product. It's like, I feel good. I was like, hey, yeah, I'm playing video games, alcohol, social media. It's like you waste so much time. And I was like, anyway, it was the cop out of saying that's not my personality means that I can't be that person. I was like, dude, no one's that person. You develop that person. You become that person. You obviously just don't want it enough. And you're allowed to want to play video games and drink and social media. Like, you're allowed to want to be that person. I was like, I just don't want to be that person. That's all, because I'm afraid of who that will be in 10 years from now. And I owe it to myself. But even more than that, I owe it to my beautiful wife, who I said, babe, I'm gonna look after us. Like, I'm gonna make something out of this. She's like, okay, I trust you. I go, that's my rock that I push up the hill every single damn day. And gosh, some days I don't want to. Most days I don't want to. But it beats the alternative.
I am 28 years old. And what happened a couple of years ago was I found that I've always been a morning person, always enjoyed getting up in the morning, but it was also easy. Especially in summer. Winter, I
just genuinely wouldn't. I can't relate to that even in the slightest.
It was always easy, and to get up early in the morning and to go to the gym was easy. The motivation was there, and I probably hit. It was probably 2 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I was probably 25, 26, 20, 27. I can't remember when it hit, but it was sort of like as your metabolism starts to just slow a little bit, and you just sort of hit this other half of your 20s, and the motivation wasn't there. So I would, like, my alarm would go at 4 a.m. and I'd wake up and I didn't want to get out of bed. And there could have been other life circumstances at the time, whether it was stress or obligations at work that led me into this particular spot. But in hindsight, this is how I'm reflecting on it. It was just like the motivation was gone. And so that's where the discipline has to kick in. And I think that I then had to really work on making the effort to get up, even though it was hard, and then just implement that discipline, I guess, in terms of lots of things in life is that, you know, you're motivated to do them, even in business, when there's work coming in and the phone's ringing you're motivated to do things, but it's when things get hard and things stop, like your metabolism slows down, or the phone stops ringing, or there's a difficult client or a staff member leaves and things kind of go, that's when the discipline is like, that's when you're exposed. And so you can ride this dopamine high of just motivation.
Yeah.
And I was saying to people, oh man, I just don't know what's going on. I'm just not motivated to get up and I call myself, I was like, motivated to get up in the morning. Like I was looking for the motivation. I was waiting to feel like I wanted to do it. And it was like, oh, I need to change how I'm thinking. I just need to get up.
Well, do I want to be the person who reaps the rewards of getting up and going to the gym? You don't have to say yes, because then we get to choose the rock we push up our hill. I don't know. We're going back to it a lot, which because either it gets really hard and you have to rely on discipline, and this is business, getting up, whatever, your relationships, your marriage, it's like your faith. It's like either you hit a point and your discipline kicks in, or you realize, I actually don't care about being that person anymore. And that's also all right, as long as you can identify that and go, oh, I actually don't care about a six-pack anymore. I just don't. It's like, it's better for me to have an extra hour and a half asleep so that I can be this kind of, like, it's like just being aware of, I just hate the cop out of like, it's just not me. I wish it was me. It's like, yeah, we have the decisions, that we have control, like saying that it's like, it's this motivation is this thing that either happens to me or it doesn't, and I can't help it. It's like,
or people who say that I could never do what you do,
dude.
And it's like, well, we're only here because like the early part of this conversation was talking about overcoming the fear of failure.
Dude.
Whoever's saying that to you is still, and whoever's thinking that is still at the point of who's still at the point of fear of failure. Oh, I could never quit my job. Oh, I have so much admiration for you for doing that. It's like, well, I had to do it just like anyone else had to do it. So it's
a dear friend of mine has 3 rules for life, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but he says the first one is,
wasn't it 10?
My old mate JP, his 3 rules for life. The first one is, it's corny, but YOLO, as in like you literally have one life, and he in a good sense of like, I have one life. What am I going to do with it?
I'm going to cut you off there. I heard someone say recently, you live every day, you only die once.
That's probably a way better way of thinking about it. I'll bet if anything, I'd be more excited so dying is more rare. Rarity value, supply and demand. It's like,
I think it stops
dying
looking
is a
at
rarer
life.
experience than living.
It stops looking at life as this linear thing, as in, and then you only live once. And dividing it into like, you live every day, and every day is an opportunity, or every day is like failure or success. Sorry to cut you off. That came to mind. The first one's YOLO.
There's 3 rules. YOLO. It's just money. The second rule of life is it's literally just money. As in like, don't over glorify having a pile of cash in the bank. You can just get more of it, or you can find more of it, or you can find creative ways to get it again. He's like, yeah, and this guy's obviously like, I don't know if he was trying to overcome a season of really intense stinginess, and he was like, you know what? It's just money. I'll invest in that startup. If it doesn't work, all right, sorry, I'll try something else. It's like, and the third one was, if someone else has done it, means there's no reason why I can't do it. Because and it was the same thing. He's like, so many people go, oh wow, I love that you have that 3D printer and you print parts for the thing or whatever. Oh wow, I wish I could do that. He's like, why not? Why can't you do it? It's like, it's a 4-hour course online. You can watch a YouTube tutorial and work it out. He's like, it's too much of a cop out in our own brains. It's like, other people are doing it. Like, why can't you do it? why not? And it's in a motivational way.
The early stages of business is really interesting because when there's so many things that you think that you have to do or you can't do, or just that, it's just money thing just made me think of this where, say a high paying client's like phoning you and you've already knocked off for the day and you're at home with your wife or your kids, or you've taken the day off and something and they're ringing, you're like, oh man, these guys, they're a big client. I better take this, And you do in the early stages of business. For me, I'm not saying you shouldn't value people and talk to them if there's emergency, but it's just more of like taking a day off, say a public holiday even. Early stages of business, I was like, oh, I can't do that. No way. Like, got to keep it going, hustling all this stuff. And it's just money. Like, it's just like a little bit more money that
goes both ways. Yeah.
But then maybe by taking that day off, you have you actually, as long as you're keeping it in balance. Yeah. And the important thing, the caveats for all of this is having people around you who are keeping you accountable for that as well. So when you're when you're complaining about things, I'm just not, work isn't just, and you're like, well, dude, I saw you playing such and such online last night. Why are you playing video games if work's not good? Well,
you have me on Nintendo Live, so he knows when I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom.
I can check.
I have a little bit.
Sorry, just jumping around a bit I'll just try and get through this story where it's just like people are, the mentality of early business, what you find is when you go, you know what, I'm just going to take the public holiday off, then you end up fine. The bills still get paid and everything's okay. And maybe in the future you'll end up an X fraction of a percent worse off. But then in the short term, there's this like really great, better like life balance, and maybe your mental health's actually good as well.
It's just all a balance. So it has to be a balance because some days you've got to stay up late and finish it, and it was worth it. And I know one thing that really was a good learning early in business was like, I actually as the business owner, I can teach my clients how to communicate with me, as in you train the behavior that you are okay with, that you accept, that you condone. It's like if you take that call at 9 p.m, they go, great, I can call this guy whenever I want and he'll just jump to whatever. It's almost like, that was a good thing for me. It's like, no, you can't just text me and I will respond in 5 minutes. It's like, I'm busy. Send me an email. I'll respond in 24 hours. You will wait in line. At the early days, you get the same thing. Oh, I got to do literally everything I ever do. And you wear yourself too thin. And it's like, gosh, who taught this behavior? I did by like jumping to attention every time somebody asked something of me. But that's all comes with maturity. Like over time, But it's not healthy for them too, because their expectations are, if they go work with someone else anywhere else,
then they'll have a different experience, or it's not. It's reasonable to, have great goals around, getting back to people as quickly as you can and answer every phone call you can. But the problem is that if they think that that's the norm and then you don't answer, then it's a huge problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So having those rules in place, and like you said, you're the one who trains them. And why are they like this? Oh, because I created this monster.
I encourage this behavior.
I reinforce this behavior.
Yeah. But I actually have had very good experience with, I haven't had any like horror stories of bad clients. It's like, I think people are generally pretty reasonable when you pick up the phone as a human being and say, hey, just read your email. Do you have 5 minutes to chat? Look, I just wanted to work this out. Can we this? I saw it, like we're finishing it up. Oh, don't even worry about it. I didn't understand that would take so long. We're gonna just add it to the invoice. We're like, oh, perfect. Like
you think by not answering the call, it's gonna be like the worst thing ever. Right. But then
avoid it head on.
But then you just text them, hey, I'm actually out of the office today. Can I call you back on Monday? You know what they say? Yeah, great, no worries.
And absolutely not. I hate you. And also your mum.
If they need something urgent, you can get another staff member to address that. Or, sure, can you just resend this email to me?
Course.
Oh, of course, I'll do that in 1 second. Like there's little things, but then it's in your head, it's always this bigger thing. Huge, it's this huge thing like, oh, I have to do this right now, and the pressure and the money and I have to talk to them, I have to do this. And it's just like, actually, let's take a chill pill for a second and go. And if they don't have those realistic expectations of you, then you probably don't want to work with them anyway. If they're expecting you to answer the phone on a public holiday and that's not part of your work that you're supposed to be doing, then maybe let them go,
dude.
So
this is the stuff that like and was you being super helpful for me when I was starting out as well. Just a bit of perspective, because when you're young and you're starting out, you just do whatever you need to do, and whatever people ask of you, you go, yep, absolutely. It's like getting mentors early on. It's like, gosh, a mate of mine's recently started a business, and he was really wanting to do it and was talking about it and thinking about it, and like a soccer coaching business. And he's like, dude, can I please buy you a coffee? And I'm no one special. I'm a small business owner in Brisbane, been around for 2.5, 3 years. And he says, dude, what's the first? He's like, it feels very overwhelming. I know I want to start this. I want to give this a crack. I'd rather try it and fail than think about and hope that one day I would wish I've done it. What's the first thing I should do? And I was like, what do you got? He's like, I got an idea. I was like, do you have a name? He's like, not really. I was like, pick a name. Don't make it your name. Pick a brand name that's not your name, so that you don't limit yourself. Pick it general enough to fit the industry. Get on Fiverr, find a logo. All the designers everywhere are like, don't use Fiverr. Get yourself a brand that looks like a thing. It doesn't have to be super professional. You can update it. Get a domain. Get this. I go through these guys. He was like, great. And then just start telling people what you do. Start showing people any sort of jobs that you're doing. Find out where your customers are. Here's a good book to read. And I was like, this is what I wish I had heard. I wasted easily 8 months just stuffing around, not knowing what I was trying to do, freelancing, subcontracting, kind of managing a client, but then not really. And then there was this weird situation where they're like, wait, are you even the one that, like, who am I paying? And I was like, oh, it's me. And they went, oh, really? I thought you... Just because I had no idea what I was doing, I sought no advice from people who had done it well. And what was so cool was, like, we had that coffee, and then it was like 2 months later, he'd done literally every single thing I'd asked. He's like, hey, I read that book. Have you got any other good books to read? And I was like, yes, bro. Yes, I do. Like, it's so cool. And then anyway, just flying. And I was like, dude, that's so, anyway, that the value of mentors, because me, like, gosh, even 2 years in was like, looking back, I was like, I could have been speed running all of this. Like, I could have skipped this if I got someone with some good advice right back at the start to say, ooh, don't set it up like that. Or hey, don't, like, look at how you're quoting that. Or are you sure that that's the way it's going to be? Don't handle jobs like that. Or, like, just anything. Like, the value of not knowing what you don't know is, like, you want to work that out immediately as soon as humanly possible, because that's what propels you so much faster.
In growing your business, have you found that you've enjoyed the process of being a business owner as much or more as being a content creator?
Bro, I always say I'm a businessman before I'm an artist. There are creatives out there that their work is their heart and soul, and feel very passionately and precious about the work they create and their art. And I love those people, and I want to offer them jobs because I get really excited about solving problems for clients, for people. Like, people who go, gosh, we look so bad. We missed out on that tender because they checked out our website and it looked like a scam. They thought we were a scam. And I'm like, okay, I can help you look good in the digital world. Like, that's the service, that's the what I'm solving. And also video is leverage, like content is leverage. Like, you don't have to, deliver the same speech to all your different branches. You send them a presentation, a video of, hi guys, end of quarter wrap up. We're going to, like, saving time, saving money, and making people's perspective of you look good. That is what I love. And when, I guess it's all ethical business. That's what gets me excited. People say, oh, thank you so much. I would love to pay you for that. I go, really? Well, I'll pay my guys to do it and make sure everyone goes home happy. Great. That was awesome. Like, that gets me fired up, when the business side of it. And I probably knew that kind of going into it, like, but I didn't. I think I've learned that about myself over the years, because I'm like, I'm more excited about this job being really profitable and the client being stoked and recommending us to 3 other people who want the same project, and the guys that are working for me are stoked and doing meaningful work and are so excited and proud to share what they're doing. And I'm like, hey, everyone won. Everybody just in this environment, this relation just won. Everybody is stoked and everybody went home happy and fed. Whoa, that's cool. Like that is a really cool service that I feel like I'm able to provide, because we need some good business owners, and we need some good employers. We need some good, just capable people solving problems in the world, because that gets me excited. So sorry, to answer your question. I'm loving the business stuff more and more, and I'm realizing that about myself, which is why I'm partnering with those creative people to fill the gaps that I'm slightly less fired up about. Which is it. But at the start, you're everything, right?
Yeah.
You're the accountant, you're the editor, you're the producer, you're the DP, and it's good. And it's good to know that I think I can do everything. But now I've proved that to myself. I think I've proved that to me. And now I'm able to step into a role that is me. And I'm really, really excited about, which is cool.
That's awesome.
Which is why I'm optimistic, which is why I'm currently hopeful for the future.
Yeah, I was definitely the same. I found that I kind of fell in love with business ownership as much as I did in with the creative process. And so you've got to surround yourself with people who are going to keep that in balance. But it's a really fun process. So yeah, I think we've talked a lot about, and I've already got involved in other businesses now, and trying to, you've talked about your desire to do that, I think, and it'll be cool to see how you do that. I think that's what I just love seeing, how people just work this stuff out and figure it out, and it always takes a bit longer than you think.
Yeah.
But you kind of get there, and it'll be cool to see how you acquire
Appleton Studios.
And my digital agency.
That's my goal. That's my stretch goal.
And its subsidiaries.
You're talking about goals. I was going to give you the Andy Fell spiel. The 6-3 and the 1.
Yeah, give it to me.
6-3-1. This would be a good short as well.
Yeah. Go for it.
Well, you talk about big goals, like dramatic goals, and it's like they can be too overwhelming that they're not actionable. And you can have like one, I want to be in the NBA. I just do. And then you turn 40 and you go, gosh, I wish I was in the NBA. And you never like, well, what were the steps? What were the steps to getting there? What was my path leading up the mountain? A dear friend of mine has a really good method. His name's Andy Fell. If he's watching, there's the shout out. Go subscribe on YouTube. We actually manage his YouTube channel, which is great. And here's the 6-3-1 model, and it's sort of like the power of 10. So he calls it, you start with 1, and that's your huge, massive, oh my goodness, end of the world goal. Like this is like, if this happens, wow, like that could never happen, basically. And the whole point of it is that it is a little bit unbelievable and unachievable. And then you have your 3 sort of key milestones of like, this is proving that I'm on the right track to achieving my one awesome, massive goal. And then, so that's the 1, the 3, and then the 6 next actions. Next best actions that are pushing you towards your milestones. So every time you achieve an action, you replace an action. So every day, it might look like one of the things is go to the gym. And you're like, I can do that. Great. But that's getting me towards the NBA in a little piece. And then one of the milestones can, I make it to this team, or I make it to whatever, and I can quit my job and play football even part-time or whatever. It's like basketball. I'm not a sports guy. And that for me is really helpful because it breaks it down. It's like having too many actions is overwhelming. The brain's like, what do I even do? And having like one is way too, it's not enough that you feel momentum. I always find that's a really helpful way to look at it. It's like, and sometimes maybe you don't have a really clear picture of what that end ultimate goal looks like. I know sometimes some people see like the peak of the mountain, they go, that's where I want to be. And other times you can see the path leading towards the mountain. And either way, you have enough information to take your next step, right? It's like whether this is crystal clear or this is crystal clear, you have enough information. You have all the information you need to know which direction you're walking. And I was always encouraged by that because it's like, there's just no excuse for, oh, I wish I was like, Nick, what are we doing? Let's go. Like, not because I've got anything, oh, maybe you do have something chasing you. Like maybe there's something chasing you, but for me, it's, if I don't do this, I'm afraid of what that will look like in 10 years from now. That's what motivates me, and that's what gets me hyped. And it's not just because of me. I could live in a cardboard box and probably be fine eating packet tuna and rice. Like I would probably be fine. It's like I now have a responsibility, and that responsibility gets me out of bed every morning. Responsibility to my wife, to my future kids. It's like to my family, and it's like that gets me hyped. Like that's what gets me hyped. So people say like, I don't have motivation. I'm like, me neither. Me neither. But it's like you gotta train that muscle. Like it is a muscle that needs to be trained.
You're an inspiration, bro.
Did I ramble enough?
Totally enough. More than enough.
631. That's the Andy Fell shout out.
That's it. I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks for sharing. I really appreciate you being open about your journey. And I think there's probably some really helpful insights there for anyone who's wanting to start a business or interested in entrepreneurship or anything like that. I'm glad we didn't do the just, the entrepreneur, like, grind it out and just hustle, man,
Yeah, dude, it's hard. Some days it's hard, but that's the point.
Yeah.
Because what if you don't? And it's like, it doesn't mean you have to succeed in what you originally thought it was. Like, I know you talk about top of the mountain pathway. I've always been pathway. I have no idea what this looks like at the end of the day. I have an idea of what it could look like, but it's like, I have enough information for tomorrow. And that's great. That's actually really, it sort of releases me in a sense of like, yeah, it's good.
Usually it's hard because it's worth it.
I'd like to hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Beau Newton, are you hopeful?
I am. Yeah, bro. I am. Currently I am.
Right now.
Some days I'm not. Let's be honest. Yeah, no, some days I'm not, but I really am. I think we're going to be okay. I think I'm going to be okay because I'm pushing my rock up the hill. Dude, that's the slogan for this whole episode. I'm pushing my rock every single damn day. So yes, thank you for having me.
Too good. Welcome back anytime.